Hi, welcome to Math with Mr. Strands. In this video, I'm actually going to talk about the Google Educator exam level 2 that I just took and passed. For those of you that are wanting to take it soon, I want to just walk you through about my experience and tell you a little bit about the exam. Now, when you take the test, you have to agree that you're not going to share any of the questions. So I'm not going to do that in any questions in this video or anything like that. I'm just going to share my experience and some tips that may help you pass the exam. All right, so first, the exam is $25. So when you are ready to do it, I suggest you really study and make sure you're ready to do it because $25 is not really cheap to take an exam. All right, so make sure that you have a quiet space, you're focused. No one's going to bother you for about 3 hours. Because, like I said, $25 is kind of expensive to take an exam. So you want to make sure that you have um, the resources available and the nice quiet space to actually take it. Okay, so my exam started off with 26 multiple choice or matching questions. I would say this is the hardest part of the exam. I don't think the scenarios were as challenging. The multiple choice are and the matching are a little bit tricky because you have to really read the question. Some of the questions might be select two, some of them might be select three answers, some of them might be select one. So you have to really read carefully and see what they are asking in the question, and then read through all the answer choices first and try to pick and find the words that are mentioned in the question. All right. You can find some keywords in there if you read it very carefully. Okay, but 26 multiple choice matching questions. Now, keep in mind, you get 3 hours for this test. I finished with about 44 minutes left, right? Which I thought I'd have a little bit more time. So I'm kind of shocked it actually did take me that long. And it was because of the multiple choice matching questions. So you want to take your time on them, but you also want to keep an eye on the clock because those are the ones that'll, suck up the time a little bit more. Okay. After the 26 multiple choice or matching questions, I had 12 scenario questions. These I did not find to be challenging, but I found them to be extremely detail oriented. You have to read the fine print and the details very closely with what they're asking you to do. All right. So I said on my screen here, be familiar with Google Sheets, Gmail, YouTube, Google Sites, Blogger, which I was not familiar. That was probably the least I was familiar with was Blogger. So you might want to get on there and play around a little bit. Google Slides, Google Classroom, and then Google Forms. With the 12 scenarios, they were pretty evenly spread out among these. Um, I would say from knowing all these applications, from barely knowing them to extreme deeply knowing them to the bottom roots, I would say you need to be right in the middle. Okay. Being a math teacher myself, I use Google Classroom all the time. I use Google Slides often, YouTube all the time, Gmail all the time. Don't use Google Sites or Blogger near as much. I use Google Forms quite a bit, and then Gmail obviously all the time. Um, so you just need to be familiar with them, know a little bit more than the basics of them. Okay, in each question, not all questions will have several tasks. Some of the scenario questions have up to four different subtasks. Some of them only have one or two. So you kind of got to judge your time there. Keep an eye on the time. Like I said, that's pretty important. A lot of people who I've talked to who are not passed said it most likely because they ran out of time. So that's a really important thing to keep in mind. But with the scenario questions, like I said, it's very detail oriented. You need to follow the instructions perfectly. It'll tell you to complete a task, but with the details in it, that's the key. So make sure you read the question very carefully. The way I did it was I would complete the question and then I'd go back quickly and just read the question one more time and make sure I didn't miss any of the small details that they were wanting me to put in the scenarios. So, like I said, 12 scenarios, 26 multiple choice matching questions. Keep an eye on the time, extremely important. Um, and when you're studying for this test, like I said, I would spend a little bit more time in the Google trainings, looking at the multiple choice and matching questions, making sure you are familiar with those types of questions. Like I said, if you know the applications well, I don't think that the scenario questions will be that big of a problem for you. Um, but just make sure you know the multiple choice and matching questions really well. Hope it helped, and good luck if you were taking the test soon.